All right, so move on to the next segment. Did Floyd Mayweather damage the sport of boxing? To me, yes. Floyd Mayweather did damage the sport of boxing in several ways. And here's why. When Floyd decided to retire in 2017, every fighter and every boxer decided to follow in the footsteps of Floyd Mayweather. Everybody wanted the big time paydays. Everybody wanted to be a big time attraction. Everybody wanted to finish their career undefeated just like Floyd Mayweather did. And that is a big problem because for years in the sport of boxing, nobody wanted to fight the best. Everybody wanted to do everything necessary to remain undefeated and duck and dodge fighting the biggest fighters, the biggest oppositions for those respective fighters because of what Floyd Mayweather did in his boxing career. Everybody wanted to follow his footsteps. And Floyd Mayweather is the reason why crossover boxing exists today. After his victory against Manny Pacquiao in 2015, which set his career record to 49-0 at the time, you fast forward to 2017, he had a crossover fight in his final boxing fight with a UFC guy and Conor McGregor. This is the reason why UFC and MMA guys have the confidence to step in a boxing ring. This is the reason why we're seeing YouTube/influencers try to take over the sport of boxing. Is because Floyd Mayweather decided to fight Conor McGregor in his final fight in a 12-round boxing fight to end his career 50-0. And after that happened, nobody wanted to fight the best. And that is why the UFC has gotten the best of the sport of boxing for years. For years. Because over in the UFC, they didn't care about having undefeated records. Dana White made sure the best of the best fought each other. After all these up-and-coming fighters, the big-time names that we see in the sport of boxing saw what Floyd did and finished undefeated. Nobody wanted to fight the best of the best. They wanted to get the big-time paydays. They wanted to keep their undefeated records. And Floyd is the reason why the sport was so hurt for a long time. And like I said, I give Floyd his flowers. Floyd, to me, is up there in the conversation of being an all-time great. His legacy speaks for itself. The championships won speaks for itself. His resume of beating world champions speaks for itself. He's defeated several Hall of Famers. It speaks for itself. But what Floyd has done for the culture of boxing, after he retired, he just hurt the sport because of what he left behind and what he desired for other fighters to do this. And Gervonta Davis, as much as I love him, he fell victim to this because Floyd wanted him to follow in his footsteps. Floyd wanted him to do everything he wanted him to do, to keep his undefeated record by any means necessary when Gervonta Davis was signed with Floyd TMT. And it just hurts to say that an all-time great, he didn't clean up. It's still hard today to clean up the mess that Floyd left behind in the sport of boxing. Because this year, it took, Floyd retired in 2017. So that's a total of 7 years it took the sport to get back on track. This year, we're back to seeing 50-50 fights in the sport of boxing. This year, we're getting back on track to seeing undisputed championship fights. We're getting back on track to seeing fights as big as Floyd and Manny Pacquiao back in 2015. We're back on track to seeing the best of the best fight each other this year. And it took so long because of the negative impact that Floyd left on the sport of boxing. It's not all about finishing your career 50-0. It's not all about finishing your career undefeated. It's not all about getting championship victories. No, every sport you should be facing the best competition to prove that you're the best of the best in the world today. And unfortunately, for Floyd's sake, and for a lot of fighters that wanted to follow in his footsteps, that was not taking place in the sport of boxing. So I have to stand by Floyd has had a negative impact, and he has damaged the sport of boxing since he's retired. And to this day, I don't mind you having exhibition fights. I don't. You can do whatever you want. If that's what you want to do, be my guest. But I'm watching the real guys fight. I'm watching the real championship fight. I'm watching the big time names that are taking over the sport of boxing and the faces of boxing. That's what I'm watching. I don't want to see the person that made me love the sport of boxing, Floyd at 46 years old, fighting YouTubers and exhibition fights. And potentially December 9th, taking over an exhibition fight on Showtime to overshadow what Devin Haney and Regis Prograis are doing. That's a fight that the world of boxing should be watching. And Floyd still wants the spotlight this late in his life. He's retired back in 2017. You're already 50-0. Why are you still doing pay-per-view fights? Why are you still taking the shine away from the sport of boxing? You had your time, Floyd. You're in the Hall of Fame. This is my stance on this. And I do believe that Floyd has damaged the sport of boxing. And the sport of boxing is officially cleaning up Floyd's mess that he left behind.